Let's do it. Go film.
The High Street as we know it will never be the same again. Recent technological, political and social advancements have prevented it from being the same as it was 5 or so years ago. With the UK economy collapsing in 2008, the very recent Eurozone crisis, and with big brands such as HMV and Republic having to close their shops and go into administration, it makes you wonder what the future of the High Street truly is. Many experts say that it has to adapt or die. However, that's an interesting question. Every town has to do it in their own way. So take a town, St Albans, for instance. How is it going to adapt in the recent changes of the High Street? Well, according to a few people that I've interviewed, the answer is simple. We cannot be like a modern town that can focus on shopping. We have to sell ourselves differently. Labour Councillor Roman Mills says that if we sell our town based on our historical ways, promote a more tourism way to promote our town, and try and focus on that and a more social aspect, maybe it will bring more people to this town. Here's what she thought. What do you think are the key factors of why the High Street is not doing as well as it used to?
I think there are a number of factors, of which online shopping is certainly one, and the whole change over to shopping at a time that's convenient for yourself. But I mean, I'm looking at my own area, which is St Albans, now High Street, which is St Peter Street.
Yes,
so I think things like affordable, easily accessible car parking is an issue. And we know in St Albans that people tell us the car parking is quite expensive and it's not well signposted, so that's one issue. Another issue will inevitably be how much money people have got in their pockets. And we've seen the impact on our market, our Wednesday and Saturday market, and the market traders just didn't bother to come when the weather was poor because they didn't have the confidence people would be coming. So I think those are also issues. And I think we've seen a change in the sort of shopping that's going on in our high street. So in St Albans, for example, far more coffee shops associated with shopping, far more restaurants, and people are using the high street as a social place, a place to go and meet, and a place to go and meet their friends and have a coffee or a drink and a meal. So we've seen that creep into our high street big time.
Do you feel that the economy will be at the point that it was pre-2008? Do you ever feel that the British economy can recover to those times?
Yes, I would hope that we will be able to recover. It will require bank regulation, it will require a very serious focus on the damaging ups and downs of capitalism. But yes, I've no doubt it can recover. These things are cyclical. Unfortunately, people suffer considerably in the meantime.
Do you feel that in a modern changing world there's still a place for the high street?
I do actually, because I think people are social beings and people like to get together and browse and look and see. Yes, I think when you know what you want, online is a fantastic way to buy. I think that's absolutely true, and increasingly people do. I've done it myself. I needed to buy some crystal glasses the other week, which I knew I couldn't buy in St Albans. I bought them online and they were delivered in one piece within a couple of days. I had an excellent service. But people like to browse, people like to choose. I'm looking at some of the shops that do well in our city centre, particularly around food. We have ABC Meats in Catherine Street. Wonderful reputation, excellent customer service, people will shop there. We have Buongiorno Italia, excellent delicatessen. People like that personal touch.
Absolutely.
People enjoy the social interaction. So I think that if the high street plays a clever game, yes, it will use online sales to support the individual organisation, whether it's Jessop's, whether it's HMV, whomsoever it is. But at the same time, with good customer service, with, as Waterstones has done, somewhere to sit and have a coffee and browse at some of the books or read the paper. With that sort of approach, I've no doubt the high street can be sustained. But as I said, there may well be this shift to a more social element within it. If people have more money in their pockets to spend, they will spend in the city centre.
Roman Mills brings up an interesting point about keeping with a tourism theme. I recently sat down with St Albans MP Anne Main. She agrees with Roma about having a more tourism aspect for our town, such as promoting the old buildings, promoting the Roman ruins. We are a very historical town here. However, she wants to go about this in a different way. Do you feel that the current government strategy on how it's doing is going to help support local businesses in order to continue into the future and not have to call in the administrators? Do you feel that current strategy is working for the High Street?
Well, obviously, we do have ministerial responsibilities that cover local businesses and indeed markets. And I believe the government is actually trying its very best to sort out and deregulate, get rid of a lot of business regulation that businesses tell me, and I pass on to the ministers, is actually clogging up the system. One business in Holywell Hill, for example, was being stymied by European legislation that said every time anybody plays a snatch of music, this is the music shop down in Holywell, they would have to have a licence. As a small business that sells sheet music, very, very niche, this was a burden that was crippling them, plus business rates. Now, working with them and the government, we've managed to find there are some exemptions that could apply. So we do need to communicate better, get businesses to work with us to try and find out how legislation can either be softened or there can be exemptions. And I think the government actually is tackling this. It's not going to be an easy ask. And in fact, there is a market strategy meeting soon down in Westminster where people can have an input onto how to make markets vibrant for the 21st century. When people have got a bit of a spring in their step, a bit of a sense of identity and a job they can feel proud of and money coming in, they're more likely then to go out and about and get involved in the community. And I actually think all of that is in the mix, and I do actually think you'll find, not so much here because we're fortunate, but in other areas it will have a very positive impact.
First off, Mr. Walkington, thank you very much for doing this interview with us about an issue that is affecting not only St Albans but most of the country. First off, some of the people I have talked to have said that it is the rise of online retailers and cheaper prices there that are causing the High Street to not be as strong as it was pre-2007. What is your opinion on this, and what other factors do you think are causing the retail industry and St Albans High Street to not be as strong as it used to be?
Well, clearly online is a factor, but I think also there are some lessons that we can learn from this city. In many ways, the new High Street of St Albans is Hatfield Road, and for all the faintly depressed air that St Peter Street has, which I think is terribly sad, the Hatfield Road thrives and booms, and you walk along the Hatfield Road and every single retail unit is occupied. There's a really interesting range of shops and premises, many of them sole traders, unique sari shops, things like that, that actually you sit and think that's really interesting. You would never be bored going along the Hatfield Road, and you can stop in all the way and eat something and something different. You've got big stores, little stores, and I think it's a model. And it's interesting, I mean, you've come and asked to talk to me about that, and it has made me sit and think about some of the other things that are going on. I mean, yes, the online world has changed things, and you know, I buy books on Amazon. My daughter buys all sorts of things online, which before wouldn't have happened. But I also think that one of the damaging things in this city centre and many other city centres is the business rate. And one of the worst things that Mrs. Thatcher did, I mean, one can criticise her for many things, but one thing Mrs. Thatcher did was to nationalise business rates in this country. Before that, the local council both collected but also set and received the business rate. And so local councils had a reason to work closely with local businesses. They had a reason to value the health and prosperity of the local high street. Mrs. Thatcher changed all that, set the business rate nationally, so it's just set nationally with no regard to local conditions, and the money goes straight back to the Treasury. And I think that's terribly damaging, because I think it's lost the sense that once upon a time there was, that local businesses worked hand in glove with local councils. And I would like to see that changed, and my party would like to see that changed. The coalition is doing a small step towards that, but not enough yet. I mean, clearly people need to have more money in their pockets, and that's why I'm particularly proud of the Lib Dem policy, which has been adopted totally without any change by the Conservatives, but it was our policy to actually increase tax thresholds to leave low and medium earners with more money in their pockets. and we're now up to £10,000 that you can earn tax-free before paying tax. And our aim is to get up to anybody on minimum wage not paying tax. We found it completely ludicrous that under the previous government, people paid tax and then had rather complex arrangements to get tax credits back, all involving a great amount of bureaucracy. Far better that people don't pay tax in the first place and keep money in their pockets. And all the evidence is that people on lower incomes spend all they receive. So actually that goes straight into the high street and into other means. So that's a direct example.
However, despite all of the doom and gloom that has been going on around the economy, around our high street and all of that, there is hope. HMV has come out of administration in finding a fire in toilets, Republic has also found its buyer, and Peter Jones has started the brand Jessop's, the brand that was forced to close down last year due to poor sales, but effectively now given a better online element. So we are seeing effective thinking with more of an online element with high street brick and mortar stores. However, we are seeing changes, and there are going to need to be definite changes made. Will the high street still be the same 5 years from now? And will the high street still have relevance from that time? Only time will tell. I'm Kieran McMahon. Thank you very much for watching. Right, Mark, do you feel that with the rise of online shopping and the ease of it, that there is still a place for the high street in the modern society?
Yes, I do, because I feel that the high street is not entirely about shopping and the acquisition of goods. It's also about the experience of being there and being a flaneur.
Why do you feel that, besides upon the rise of online shopping, that the high street is not as money-making as it was pre-2007?
Obviously the option to purchase through different means, including online, results in a decrease in sales in some sectors. However, places such as coffee shops, I imagine, charity shops, which don't have the online facility, are ever popular, if not more so.
Do you feel that with major brands such as HMV, Jessop's, Republic, all having to call in the administrators, that the high street will still be the same as it is 5 years from now?
No, I don't think it'll be the same. Obviously, industries change and the nature of things change with time. I don't think it'll be the same, but I think it will be equally as useful. And if you can't get something from the high street, you can get it online. If you can't get something online, you can get it from the high street. It still has a place, it still has a relevance. It still has a purpose and a function and a use, however that changes and adapts with culture and society.
While Amazon and eBay are currently the two biggest markets for goods that you cannot get on the high street, because some things are just not available anymore on the high street that you can get online, do you feel that other brands should go online, and can you name any that would benefit from going online in your opinion?
I think almost everything sooner or later will be online if it isn't already, but some things remarkably sustain, like telephone shops obviously are increasingly popular, although I'm not entirely sure why. Travel agents, why do we still need to actually physically go in instead of going online? I don't know why, but each town has at least 2 travel agents, even though that's surely a service that you think would be easily achievable online.
While some sectors of the market that cannot go online, such as food markets, where Sainsbury's, Marks and Spencer's, you can order online, but actually eating food cannot, do you feel that in other sectors, besides the ones that you've mentioned, are incapable of going online and therefore are going to suffer because of this?
No, not necessarily. I don't think that anything can't go online unless it's a physical thing, such as consuming coffee, which still of course can diversify. For example, I recently purchased a pot of Costa coffee which I can now have at home, which although will save me a fortune in the long term, not having to come here, it's still putting money into their pockets by me buying it to use it at home. So every sort of company will diversify in some way using online or physical means.
Right, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.